Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. It's another day in paradise as I sit here in Southern California recording this fine Thursday morning. Hope I find you well wherever, whenever you are. Have some questions to address today from listeners. I have some feedback on the Positive Head Facebook group comment that kind of triggered something in me today that I would like to just briefly touch on, which of course ended up tying in perfectly to the question, and it just all fell together. It's so cool how these shows sort of write themselves. It's such a perfect example, beautiful example in my own life of letting things just flow and fall together synchronistically without me trying to force it, without me overthinking, what do I need to talk about? What should I do? I have such a lighthearted sort of freestyle approach to it. And then all of a sudden, like, these elements will pop up in my world and it's like, oh, okay, that's triggering something in me in a good way. Okay, maybe that's a component. Okay, here's a recommended song on SoundCloud out of nowhere. Let me check this out. Oh, what do you know? It's talking about this topic, and it just like all gels together, and it's such a great teacher for me, not to carry forward into other aspects of my life. Businesses that I'm involved with and relationships that I'm involved with, and just letting things fall together without coming and approaching, with a very light heart. And so. Anyway, they got that little thought out to get us rolling. Hope that sits well with you. It definitely sits well with me. And what also sits well with me is having a wonderful review on iTunes to start my day too. I love it when I get my iTunes reviews. You guys know they help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love, and also help us to reach new people, because that's how iTunes sort of determines what they're going to serve up, if you will, when people are doing searches and whatnot. And a lot of people these days are finding us through searching, spiritual podcast or positive, podcast or whatever, those kind of keywords, because of you guys taking the time to send some love back my way and leave these reviews. So I thank you so much for that. This particular one came in by Rancid8765. Always what I need to hear. I started listening to this podcast when, like plenty of others, I needed to find a daily dose of positivity. Finding this was exactly what I needed at the time, but after about 5 months, I stopped listening to it daily. Now I will randomly go through when I need a little boost or just want to hear a familiar voice, and I undoubtedly always choose an episode that lines up with what I need and want to hear. This podcast definitely has a way of doing that. I just have so much love for Brandon and all the P-heads for helping me to get where I am emotionally and spiritually. They're the best group to have support from on my journey. Oh, thank you, Rancid8765. And what did Rancid talk about there? Exactly what I was just talking about. And I hadn't read this review ahead of time, so there's an example of exactly what we were talking about. Here's the layers of the onion going ever deeper as Rancid brings up the very topic I was just bringing up. And it's just magical. Life is beautiful, isn't it? All right. Oh, and for those of you, I get sometimes from people who are like, I wish I had more synchronicity in my life. I wish, things were unfolding in this way or that way or magically, surprising me and all the, well, let me say this. You are participating in this experience right here and right now. What all I've started off talking about, this is your experience. This is your show. I'm a reflection of you. This is those of us tuning into this broadcast and a part of this broadcast and part of the Positive Heads Facebook group, which if you're not on there, you need to get on there. We just crossed 3,000 members, by the way. Yay, that was amazing. So basically, what I'm pointing out, what I'm saying here is that you, if you're experiencing it even vicariously through the show, through me, through a listener, through an interview, that's a part of you. That's a reflection of you. So instead of saying, why isn't more things like this happening to me? Acknowledge what is happening to you and own it and appreciate that. And from that appreciation, more will flow. So, there's that. Let's see. All right. So today, what do I want to talk about? On the Facebook group, right before I jumped on to record, there was a post from a new member of the group, Cindy. And Cindy said, I hope there is room on here for an open-minded Christian. I will always follow Jesus, but I am much more open-minded about spirituality now. Brandon, I love your show. I listen to it every night. I may not agree with you on everything, but many things I do. I love the positivity in applying some of the things I take from your show to my life. Thank you for what you do. And of course, I responded to Cindy, there's tons of room for you and I love you right back. And, it always, this is one that always sort of gets me going when we bring up Christianity or Jesus or these topics, because I was, they touch so close to home for me as, someone who was raised in a very conservative Christian household. I went to a Christian university where I got kicked out of because I was a bad boy. No, I really wasn't that bad. But by, Freed-Hardeman University standards, I guess I was bad. For me, what I always want to touch on with people who are Christian and opening up to more, as Cindy is doing here, I applaud you for that. And of course, I accept exactly who you are and where you're at, and I have no judgment about it and love you unconditionally and all those things. The one thing I do like to point out anytime this subject comes up is just be really mindful of where you got the idea from that there is a being that requires worship, if you will, or that's even external of yourself. Some of you probably seen the meme that floats around out there. Jesus was not a Christian. Buddha was not a Buddhist. Muhammad was not a Muslim. And as I responded to Cindy, what Jesus taught was oneness and love. You look at some of the scriptures, which, of course, the other thing to really keep in mind is there wasn't video recorders or tape recorders back then. So this stuff was written down by others, after the fact. And so you always got to take that into consideration. You had kings who, took, and around the year 1200 and edited together different religious texts and put it into one package. And that's the Bible, and left certain things out that they didn't like and edited certain other things. So all of that, I think someone should really take careful consideration of. But one of the, even looking at the things that are there written down, what did Jesus say? I and the Father are one. He was basically teaching, I'm God. Well, what am I teaching on the show? For lack of a better word, you're God. We are all gods. And that's another thing he said, when he was on trial right before going on the cross, his argument back was, well, hold on, you're condemning me for saying that I'm God. You're going to kill me for it. But is it not written in the ancient text, the Old Testament, ye are all gods? And so when you look at that, what was he saying there? Jesus was saying, well, he was backing his last argument was, hey, hold on, don't kill me. Is it not written, ye are gods, right? What else did he teach? Well, with the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. What is that? That's law of attraction. That's where, what you believe you create, right? And so he was teaching oneness and love and all these things. So where I have the disconnect from organized religion, and like I said, no judgment with this, just something that I just want to put out there for consideration is when it turns into this person, this soul, this man, right? Jesus was a man. Christ is a state of consciousness, which we all can attain to and call into being. It's waking up full connection with source and merging with higher self, right? God, whatever you want to call it. And so Jesus was a man. Christ is a state of consciousness. What Jesus, this man who was, the embodiment of Christ consciousness, attained to Christ consciousness in his lifetime, was saying was, all these very things. He's teaching the same things that we're teaching on the show, that we're talking about, that we're teaching and learning, right? Because we teach best what we most need to learn. And so, I just would, the issue sort of comes up for me is, there's these organized groups who then say, okay, this is the conduit. This character, this man is the pathway to your divinity. And without it, you're going to be judged and possibly tortured for eternity, right? And that's where I have the disconnect. It's Jesus. Like I said, Jesus wasn't a Christian. He never said worship me. He never, it'd be like me right now teaching these things and say, okay, now everyone get in line, fall down, worship me. And by the way, you got to go through me in order to, access your own divinity. That's not what happened. So that's what I would challenge anyone out there who's involved with Christianity just to be aware of and just to pay attention to. And, I say this with no judgment, no any of that, right? Just be aware, Jesus was never teaching that he needed to be worshipped. And that's the big thing that is the blockage I see, is this sort of, he's sort of the bottleneck at divinity. Okay, you got to go through this character. It's the only way you can get there. And it's, I don't believe that's the case. I believe ye are gods. Ye are it. You like my old English? I always joke about how my dad, who it makes me think, I always joke how my dad, when he says prayers at dinner, how he all of a sudden goes into speaking in Old English. And I still haven't had the heart to tell him that Jesus didn't speak in Old English. Those are translations, but anyway, okay, so that's that, and I just wanted to touch on it. And Cindy, welcome to the group. You are loved. Now, moving on, I would like to address a question that I got from Triss. Triss wrote in to the show and said, good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it may be where you are. This is a hard one for me, but I figure this is the safest place to ask or inquire about what the heck is going on with me. Daily, either in traffic or out for a nice relaxing walk with my family, or even doing something like snowboarding or riding my bike, I get these crippling waves of panic, especially when, by myself, it's like a pounding thought saying, you're going to have a heart attack and die right now. And if I have somewhere help could reach me, I find it to be worse. I will even get a flash of me in the moment clutching my chest. It's a nattering voice in the back of my head that won't shut up. I've meditated on it. Happens right after I was done. It's been going on so long, I think I have made it stronger. Where I used to run and want to jump out of my skin, makes me feel uneasy. Now I just tell myself that it's nothing and that nothing has ever come of it, no matter how many times it has happened, and that I can relax because I'm still alive. But I find myself unable to enjoy the things I've always loved doing, or even being present with my family, because I'm being distracted by this feeling. It all started when my father insisted over the course of 2 years to call me daily and tell me he was going to die of a heart attack and has heart disease. I even saw him have a heart attack. But now he says it's all cleared up and I have nothing to worry about. I've worn a heart monitor, I've had numerous EKGs, and I've had my cholesterol tested. First time I went, they said it was high, but I have since lost 15 pounds, and they say my cholesterol is perfect now. But I still can't beat the thought that continuously pops into my head. I've tried hypnotherapy. I'm in the midst of meditation and self-talk. It's funny because I know death does not need to be scary, and I'm not really scared, and I know that it's just moving from physical to non-physical, but something just throws me when it's flashing in my mind like that. Maybe it's because I'm finally content and having everything in my life I could ever want. Family, son, good job. I don't know. Any help would be great. Well, this is an interesting one, and I certainly understand and can relate to some degree. I think of my own brother who's had a lot of concerns about heart and went and had heart monitors and things like that, and had issues with panic attacks, especially in the past. And even me, it's something I've talked about on the show, just having this weird fear of my son choking, right? He's a teenager now. Like, he's a little kid. It's like one thing. Now it's like, it's such an unfounded, weird thing that will pop into my head over and over. Well, I had a realization the other day about it that kind of left me like, oh, wow, maybe this could have something to do with it. Because I've been the same way trying to figure this thing out. Where is it coming from, right? In your case, you kind of have an idea where it came from. You're empathic. You're taking on your father's energy, right? You're so sensitive. We're all so sensitive. We're such sensitive beings and instruments, right? And someone bringing you what your father is bringing you, obviously it's you've taken it on. Now, I thought with my own issue, it just occurred to me recently, it's like, my mother is actually a twin, and my mother's twin was retarded. He, was, mentality of like a 2-year-old. And of course, my mom, completely normal. If there is such a thing. And at around 21 years old, he was my uncle, was in the hospital and choked and died, choked on something. And I have not, I never met him. It was a few years before I was born. And so it just occurred to me, hold on, I have this weird, unrealistic fear. And I think back to also the other thing that just even is settling even more at this moment as I talk about the issue. Not only could there be an energetic tie between my uncle, who I never met, and my son, right? Who knows? Maybe he was that uncle. I don't know. You hear of reincarnation stories all the time where family members come back in and are their own great granddaughter or grandson. And, a lot of times that sort of thing happens, I believe. Lots of stories of it for sure where people remember. Which, by the way, this is another thing that's kind of an interesting to consider, all the stories of reincarnation and evidence of it. And then you consider that with, what most Christian belief systems aren't really open to reincarnation. So that's another one, Cindy, just to really consider what's out there. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked today a lot. Sorry, guys. So anyway, not only was my uncle, who my mother's twin, who obviously energetically I'm very closely tied to, did he choke, but also my best friend as a child had this weird thing, and as a teenager had this weird thing where he would choke. And I always thought it was so weird. And it's like, and I even remember one time in a restaurant, like prom or something, all of a sudden he starts like choking and almost needs the Heimlich maneuver. And I'd seen him another time have to get the Heimlich maneuver. It was like his thing of choking. And, so was that same way like your father? It was like imprinted on you? Man, as I sit here and talk about this, it's like, even now I'm getting like a release of like light bulb. I've questioned for so long. And, that was something I was 14 years old, 15 years old, seeing my best friend go through this kind of traumatic experiences multiple times where he's apparently choking and could drop dead. That as a sensitive being that I am, I must have taken some of that on, I realize. There could be tie-ins elsewhere through my mother's brother. So, first off, understanding that some of that is definitely going on. It's very clear here in your story. I mean, very, very clear. It happened after your father was coming and giving you this energy, right? Giving you this energy. So, understanding that part of it was something that was sort of given to you, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it's something that has anything to do with what is actually going to happen, right? In the future for you. So you can, understanding it is it's like something that seems really like mystifying until you understand sort of the science behind it. And then it's like, they say any magic, any science, really good science is going to appear like magic to someone who doesn't understand it. It's the same kind of thing, right? So understanding this was given to you, in your case, very, very obviously. You are the master, mind is your servant, right? And that's something that Mooji says that I really, really like. You are the master, mind is your servant. And you can take by even owning this thing, this teacher, this lump of coal that's a diamond in disguise for you, waiting to be transmuted with your correct perspective, and by owning it and transmuting it and not resisting it, which it seems like you're making steps towards. But here's a little clip I found from Mooji called "From Panic Attack to Full Power," where he really talks about this in a way that shines a bright light on the subject. So let's take a listen, and then I'll talk a little bit more.
Because many times we are misinterpreting. Many times we are misinterpreting what is grace. Yesterday, one of the friends here, she also had a tremendous experience after satsang. She came into the room, we were sitting in the room, and she felt she's going to die. Somebody brought her in, she's having a panic attack, she thinks she's going to die. And she came into this room, and the whole body was jerking, and she was really in a state. So I'm going to die. I feel I'm going to die. And what's the problem? What happens? And she's saying, "Oh no, because I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave all of you. I don't want to leave this life. I don't want to leave." And so she needed to be guided through it. I said, "But you are listening to all of this now. You're aware that this is an effect happening. What has been happening is that some energies are sometimes inside, trapped in some way, and they are doing their work in some way, mischievously. But now, out of your own satsang, something has stirred up, and now it's coming up." And I said, "Don't panic, don't worry. It's coming. Even if there's panic, be aware of the panic and stay as the awareness." And somehow she was present in that listening, but still the body said, "No, you are not dying, not you are dying." You see? Just some delusion is coming out, some dying is coming out, but dying of what is unreal is coming out. And this, Rick Shever, and we were saying this morning about it. Look, some people think, "Oh my God, look what's happening. Look what's happening." But my expression is, yes, look what's happening. You see, different interpretation altogether. You think, "Oh my God, something terrible. Look, Shiva." No, I'm thinking, but this is great. This is your perfect moment. What a perfect opportunity. You are defeating death itself. Don't expect to defeat death, with a bottle of champagne in your hand. Something is happening, and it's coming through, and many people are afraid. I don't want to have this type of experience. It's too strong, something terrible, or maybe I don't come back. I said, "No, but this is your chance. Go, come to life. Come to life. Why be so timid? This timidity doesn't serve you. Come into life. Be willing to be thrown in the fire, full blast. Come in. I'll come with some more kerosene inside. Come into it. Don't be so afraid. It's the mind is holding you back from coming into this. Fully come into it." And then it was like this. It's coming, something coming out. Then the mind doesn't get into the way, because then if you identify, something wants to protect the culprit. You see? So now when the intelligence is reminded, "No, this is okay, darling, it's coming out. Nothing to do, just relax, it's okay. You are just the awareness in whose presence this activity is coming. This beautiful thing is happening for you. Let it happen. In a moment it will pass, and you are going to be in such peace, you never know. Still in the body, and after a while, it's gone. And she's lying in angelic peace. I said, "How are you?" Some of you were there. What did she say? Full power, full power, full power. Come out. Sometimes in the light of your own satsang, some things which are somehow holding court or dominating presence within, but you're not aware of it, then it begins to come up. It's been thrown out. It's been thrown out. It has to come out. It's only strong when it's in. It wants to stay in. When he's out, he can't do nothing. He has no power.
So what does he say here? Stay aware of the process. Something is coming through that is in the body when this is happening to you. Be willing to go into it full blast. Become the awareness. And you even touched on it, Trish. You said, look, it hadn't happened. So think of it like Mooji saying here, look, it's perfect. You're actually defeating death itself. Become the awareness. Say, wow, this is beautiful. I'm letting this fire blast fully through me. And what can happen then? It can pass through you instead of ever resisting it, owning it, and loving it. That's what it needs is love, right? It's lacking love. It's fear. What is fear? The opposite of love. It needs your love. So give it love. Look at it from a new perspective. Stay aware of the process. Something's coming through the body. It's beautiful because it's looking to be transmuted by your acceptance. And then what happens? It can pass through you like the woman in the story. What did she say next after she went through all this? Even convulsions with her body, right? Full power. That's what's next. It makes me think of ayahuasca journeys, having done 5 of those. And seeing people go through their process. This is a very common thing. Going through, processing energy that is trapped in their being, in their physical being, in their spiritual being, in their etherical being, and seeing so many people, including myself, go through this process of fear racking the body and, a lot of like energy. And then next thing you know, an hour, 2 hours later, these people are blissed out because it's passed. It was a medicine that helped them to pass it. In this case, a very powerful medicine. So this is what's happening. It's an opportunity. So, it's only stay strong when you keep it bottled in by resisting it, right? What a dance it is learning to not give energy to something, but also not resisting something that is coming up repeatedly, because it's coming up repeatedly for the transmutation. And that's something that I've really been figuring out the art of living is that for myself, for a long time, same thing. Don't think about the choking thing. Don't think about it. Block it out, push it out, push it out, push it out. Keeps coming up. Why? I'm resisting it. Love it. Instead, wrap your arms around it. Go fully there. What it would feel like, be like. Let it pass through you in that way. I hope this helps you, Tris. I know it helped me. And I hope also... Cindy, it helps give you a little perspective on my viewpoint on the Christian thing and how accepting we all are of you and where you're at in your journey, and just keep that mind open. And be very wary if anyone is ever telling you that you need to access your divinity outside of yourself through any being, any character, no matter how wonderful that character was. It's within you. It's so close that people are missing it because ye are gods, truly. And I'll leave off here, well, of course, with a song in a moment. Before that, I have a perfect Bible verse that brings it all together. By the Christ-conscious being Jesus, Matthew 6:25 through 28. Therefore I say unto you, be not anxious for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than the food, and the body than the raiment? Behold the birds of the heaven, that they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, and your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are not ye of much more value than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add 1 cubit unto the measure of his life? And why are ye anxious concerning raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. Love that one. Have always loved that one. Contemplate the flowers. Learn from them how to live the flowering of human consciousness. This is Desert Dwellers with Shaman's Dream. The song is Falling Stars with Eckhart Tolle edited in. Hope you enjoy. Love you all. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
The flowering of human culture. The flowering of human consciousness. One morning, just after sunning, the first flower ever to appear on the planet opens up to receive the rays of the sun, the flowering of human consciousness. Explosion of color and scent all over the planet. Those delicate and fragrant beings we call flowers. Flowers, messengers from another realm. Fragrance from the realm of spirit. Provided inspiration to countless artists, poets and mystics. Poets and mystics. Contemplate the flowers and learn from them how to live. Poets and mystics. Contemplate the flowers. Seeing beauty in a flower could awaken humans to the beauty that is an essential part of their own innermost being, their true nature. The feelings of joy and love. The flowering of human consciousness. The flowering of human consciousness. Most high, most sacred. Enter a state of peace and clarity that is closer to who you truly are than thought could ever be. Most high, most sacred. A leap to an entirely different level of being. Spontaneity, lightheartedness, and joy. Recognize it as one with their own essence, and so love it as themselves. One life, one consciousness. Contemplate the flowers and learn from them how to live. Divine life essence, conscious presence, breaking, begin to awaken. Begin to awaken, begin to awaken, begin to awaken, begin to awaken, begin to awaken. One life, one consciousness. Spirit, 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 the flowering of human culture.